The Biden administration lied about these Chinese spy balloons. Oklahoma's Capitol building was occupied by trans activist protesters. And I'm going to break down the Super Bowl and give you my prediction on who's going to win. I'm your host, Hyde. Welcome to Hide and Seek Media. Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to my first ever live stream. I know this is crazy. I can't believe that I'm live on YouTube right now. It's kind of weird. But we're gonna talk about a few stories. I'm gonna get into some other topics outside. Lied about these Chinese spy balloons. Oh my god. Oklahoma's Whoops. So, at least I know there's a delay. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about those topics and much more in this first ever live stream here at Hide and Seek Media. So thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. So if you guys are new to the channel and this is the first time you're checking me out, basically what I do here is try to find interesting news topics and current events, sports, and give you my opinion, talk about them. Maybe throw out some conspiracy theories here and there. I like to keep it lively. So, and I'm an overthinker, so I'm always constantly trying to, find the angles in stories and whatnot. So, I come up with some interesting things. So, if you guys are new to the channel, maybe hit that subscribe button and check out some of my other videos later on. But today, I want to talk about an old story, these Chinese spy balloons. I didn't get a chance to make a video on them because there was so much other crap going on with Eliza Blue and Tim Pool that I had to make videos on that. So I figured, hey, why not talk about these Chinese spy balloons in my first ever live stream, right? So, when we first saw the news that it was spotted over Montana, and we realized that the Biden administration wasn't going to do anything, about it initially. It kind of struck me as odd that we didn't want to shoot this thing down. Now, later reports came out that Biden said he wanted to shoot it down around Wednesday, but I think it was spotted, I don't remember what day it was spotted. I remember it was spotted a couple of days before it. So probably Monday, so Sunday or Monday it was spotted. Then Wednesday, Biden wanted to shoot it down, right? But they didn't shoot it down until, was it Friday? When it hit the Carolinas. So they allowed this balloon to traverse from Alaska. Okay, that's the initial reports were Montana, but then it comes out that it was actually spotted in Alaska first. This is where the government spotted it. They allowed it to go from Alaska all the way to the Carolinas, tracking right over the middle of the country. I thought that was kind of odd that they would allow that to happen, right? That the Biden administration would allow that to happen. And then the Pentagon wants to come out and say that this happened 3 other times during the Trump administration. Now, I thought that was kind of funny because damn good and well that if the media had caught wind of some giant Chinese balloon with tech strapped to it floating around in American airspace under Trump's watch, he would have been impeached over it. I mean, they impeached him over Joe Biden's crime in Ukraine, and so what makes you think that they wouldn't have impeached Donald Trump over Chinese spy balloons in U.S. airspace? But Sleepy Joe gets a pass, right? So, anyways, I have this article right here from timcast.com. Chinese surveillance balloon may have contained explosives designed to self-destruct. Anytime you down something like this, we have to make assumptions such as that, said Air Force General Glenn D. Vanneck. The Chinese surveillance balloon discovered hovering over the United States last week reportedly may have contained self-destructive explosives. So that was their reason for not shooting it down over the continental US, even when it was in Montana when we first spotted it, and you could have taken it down with minimal damage, right? And I'm pretty sure most Americans would have been, well, accepting or lenient to the very least if you would have shot it down over Montana. But after reports came out that it was actually spotted over Alaska first, that's when you should have taken it out. When before the media got wind of it, and when it was in an area so isolated that it was a very good chance you weren't going to hurt anybody. So to me, all of that, I I have to say that I think they let it go across the United States on purpose to allow the Chinese government to gather whatever data they were trying to gather. Because whatever that tech was on that balloon, it was transmitting the whole time. And they said they were using signal jammers and all that, and I don't buy that crap. I don't buy it. But let's continue on with what Timcast has to report here. A Pentagon official revealed the Chinese surveillance balloon, which was 200 feet tall, weighed thousands of pounds, and had a payload comparable to the size of a jetliner, potentially carried explosives designed to self-destruct, the Daily Mail reported. I can't confirm whether it had explosives or not. Anytime you down something like this, we make an assumption that the potential exists. Air Force General Glenn D. Vanerick, commander of U.S. Northern Command, told reporters. We did not associate the potential of having explosives with a threat to dropping weapons, those kinds of things, but out of a precaution, abundance of safety for not only our military people, but the public, we have to make assumptions such as that. I probably read that a little bit wrong. Vanerick's statement followed a briefing by National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, who defended President Biden's decision to postpone shooting down the surveillance balloon. Or, let me read that again. Who defended President Biden's decision to postpone shooting the surveillance balloon down until Saturday. The president decided they wouldn't shoot it down until he could do it safely, and that meant over water. That afforded us a terrific opportunity to gain a better understanding and study the capabilities of this balloon. Hold on a minute, man. Hold on a minute. It's a freaking balloon. What kind of capabilities do you need to study that it had? I mean, the tech capabilities that were attached to it, you can study. But guess what? You can study that when you take it down. And so it seemed to me that this was a little sketchy, right? This whole thing about these Chinese balloons was a little sketchy. And then, I don't have it pulled up, but the Biden administration and the Pentagon tried to come out and say that this happened under Donald Trump too, but it just they didn't know about it until now. And it's like, well, how did you guys detect that this happened under the Trump administration when the intelligence agencies and the director of national intelligence and several other Biden or Trump administration officials said this never happened under the Trump administration? That's what I want to know. Give me a second here. I'm trying to find that video. I know dead airspace sucks, right? So now what I'm trying to do is trying to find this video from where is it? All this stupid Eliza Pool shit, Eliza Blue and Tim Pool crap, man. Oh, that's such an annoying thing that I had to talk about that. She's a nobody, and everybody's crying. Oh, why aren't you talking about how she got these people banned off Twitter? And it's like, who freaking cares? She's a nobody. Delete the tweet and move on. Jeez. I mean, But you got all these people going, oh man, I'm never going to talk to Tim Pool again, or I'm never going to subscribe to Tim's channel ever again because of what they did. This is a disgrace and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, let's see if I can find it this way. Yeah, so I hated it, right? I hated it because it's like, why do you guys even care? And then when Tim comes out and he says that this is a PR stunt and that it's just all just people. No, I don't want to get it from the freaking. Let's see if I add this. But everyone's crying and complaining that Tim didn't talk about it, and I really didn't care. Like, so I found that video here.
When Joe Biden
on a very special TV Dad.
I didn't make the dance team.
What do I always say?
Yeah.
Switch your car insurance to Progressive and you could save hundreds.
Feel better now?
Not really.
Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds.
Really? Sorry, guys. All right. I'm
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Live stuff, so hang with me. All right.
Military civil fusion laws mean that
Let's
dollars to fund what he was doing. Communist China, we also know.
Secrets. This after we learned Communist China donated some $60 million to the University of Pennsylvania to create the Penn Biden Center, where classified documents were also stored. Biden placed several Penn leaders into key positions in his administration afterwards. Former Penn Biden Center Director Anthony Blinken was named Secretary of State. Former university president Amy Gutmann is now the ambassador to Germany. And former chairman of the Penn Board, David Cohen, is now the ambassador to Canada. The University of Pennsylvania was also able to successfully lobby Joe Biden to shut down the so-called China Initiative, which was investigating China's surveillance and its intellectual property theft. Joining me right now with a look at the Chinese Communist Party's efforts to infiltrate America, including the surveillance balloon the CCP sent to breach America's sovereignty, the former director of national intelligence, once the top spy in America, John Ratcliffe. John, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start off and get your take on this week and this spy balloon. How do you see things?
Well, good morning, Maria. It's pretty easy and pretty clear. It should be to all Americans. This past week, unfortunately, the People's Republic of China executed an incredibly successful intelligence operation over the mainland of the United States.
All right, so sorry guys, I don't want to get dinged for playing it too long, but
Blunder of incalculable damage, and I say that, Maria, because we know, the facts are very clear that America's number one adversary, the People's Republic of China, maneuvered a spy craft into U.S. airspace a week ago on Saturday, January 28th, and it didn't leave U.S. airspace until a week later, Saturday, February 4th. And except for the time that it was over Canada, it spent at least 4 days, at least 100 hours continuously over the continental United States in an intelligence operation, again, of incalculable damage, violating U.S. sovereignty.
See, like, I mean, it's insane that we allowed this, and like nobody's really like everyone's like, oh, it was just a balloon, and it's like, oh God, do you understand like the amount of damage that this one little balloon could have done? Like the kind of tech that's out there now that they could have delivered with this one little balloon that everyone's like, oh, it's just a balloon, guys. What are you so worried about? The fact that balloons can't be picked up by radar, they can fly between satellites and airplanes, so they can fly up 58, 60,000 feet, right? They move so slow that you can't really pick them up on radar. They could have dropped a freaking bomb from that thing. I mean, there's weird, crazy technology out there like antimatter bombs and stuff now, and like from 1 gram of that crap equals like Hiroshima. To put it in like the most layman terms I can. It's insane the kind of stuff that these operate, these things could that could happen. And so I don't know, I'm losing this stuff here. But like they say, he goes on to say that this never happened under the Trump administration. There's no proof that it ever happened under the Trump administration, and it's embarrassing that the Biden administration is trying to again drag Trump through the mud over stuff that they're allowing to do. It's confession by projection, right? Every time they point at the Republicans, say, they're doing this, or Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did this. It's what they're doing. Oh, Donald Trump allowed 3 spy balloons to happen. Oh, so that's supposed to excuse you from allowing the one that everybody saw. Nobody else saw the 3 that you claim happened under Trump, but everybody in the world saw the one that you let fly over the continental United States for 4 days, as Ratcliffe said in that clip. So it's I don't know, man. It's insane that there's not more people like up in arms and doing something about this. And I hope to God that at least the House holds some kind of investigation into this spy balloon and why it was allowed to traverse over the continental U.S. Like, come on. You mean to tell me that there's not a way to take that down safely and control it? Come on. Today's technology, I don't buy it for 1 minute. And I sure as hell don't buy that you couldn't tell whether there was explosives on that balloon. We don't have scanners that could scan that kind of stuff from, a decent distance. Flying AWAC close enough to it, I'm pretty sure, you can scan damn near anything on that balloon if you got close enough. So don't tell me you didn't know if there was explosives or not. Like, this is 2023, not 1923, right? We know what kind of technology there is today. That kind of stuff is just stupid, right? And I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me why they would let that go on outside of handing our enemy information. I can't explain it outside of that. They said it in the name of safety, but I don't buy that. I really don't buy that. But it's a crazy world we're living in, right? So one of the other things I wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to talk about, or make a video about, and that's why I'm doing this live show, is this occupation that happened in my home state capital over legislation that protects young people from making bad decisions too early in their life. As somebody who has made a lot of bad decisions in their life, I can say that I see the point to these bills that Oklahoma's trying to pass and that these activists were trying to protest when they occupied the Oklahoma State Capitol. They're arguing for inclusiveness, right? And allowing people to be free and be who they want to be. And I'm all for that, right? I'm mostly a libertarian. I'm libertarian right, so I'm all for you be you. As long as you don't force that on me, I don't care, right? Be whoever you want to be. Do whatever you want to do. But one thing that give me 1 second, guys. Well, here's a little drama for it was my mom getting just headed to the emergency room. Hope everything's gonna be okay. So, but back to these trans activists, right? I understand their argument from a libertarian point of view. You want to be you, and that's all good and fine and dandy. I have no problem with you being you. My thing is, I don't want you enforcing it on me or my kids, right? And so that's where I have a problem with it. And I firmly believe that as somebody who made a lot of bad decisions in their early years, I firmly believe that if you can help young adults avoid those mistakes, right? Make them really contemplate their choices before they make them, then when their opportunity comes, they'll be informed, they'll understand the repercussions of their decision, and will have to accept the consequences of that decision. A lot of times when you're young,
Ronnie,
you're
stay
emotional
giant.
and impulsive.
With
I don't
100
know
more
why
shoots
this
than
is
Bounty.
started. I hate this stuff. Sorry, guys. I don't know if that audio picked up or not on the live stream. Like I said, I've never done this before, so but like I was saying, a lot of when you're younger, when you're a teenager and you're a young adult, in your late teens, early 20s, a lot of times your decisions are made with more emotion than they are rationale and logic. And so making an emotional decision like having gender reassignment surgery, a decision you have to live with for the rest of your life. Making an emotional decision like that may not always be, the smart thing. I can understand making an emotional decision in a relationship or, being stupid when you go to a party or like drinking too much or something like that. Those kind of dumb emotional decisions that teenagers and young adults make, I understand. But hormone therapy and gender reassignment surgery is something you're going to have to live with forever. And so that decision needs to be made after you have done the research, had multiple doctors explain the repercussions and the results and what you'll have to do, going forward. Some people have to take medications for the rest of their lives in order to maintain, their physical status or whatever whatever, right? And so they have to constantly take testosterone or other hormones and stuff, or hormone suppressors and all that kind of stupid crap. And it doesn't make any sense why you would think that a young teenager or young adult, would be rational enough to be able to make that decision. Those rational young adults are very, very far and few between. Right? Most teenagers and young adults don't make rational decisions. And as somebody who made a lot of dumb emotional decisions when I was younger, I can, speak from experience. So when they decided to, I'm getting all these stupid ads and stuff pop up. I hate this. But when Oklahoma decided we're going to put these bills forward and make sure that you don't get to make those decisions in Oklahoma until you are of an age to where you have had time to think it out and understand what your life is going to be like. Right? So I have this story pulled up here. I'm just going to read the headline. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Trans Lives Matter protesters occupy Oklahoma State Capitol. This is our house, they chant. Republican Governor Stitt, says, send me a bill that bans all gender transition surgeries and hormone therapies on minors. Now, in Oklahoma, they didn't just stop at 18 or 21. They took it to 26 because there are some studies out there that say the adult brain doesn't fully develop until 26 years old. And so they're taking it just that one step farther to say, look, let's make sure that you've gone through every avenue of rationale, reasoning, decision making, thought process, weighed out the pros and cons, however you want to talk, however you want to, frame it. Make sure that you've done all that before you make a decision that is going to affect your life in such a drastic way forever, right? And so that's all this is. But all these protesters that want to come in and scream Trans Lives Matter and occupy the state capitol, right? They think it's okay for a 15-year-old, 16-year-old to be on hormone suppressors and puberty blockers and whatever, so that they can decide what gender they want to be. And are you kidding me? When I was a teenager, there was no way I should have been making decisions like that. Let alone, the decisions I was making. I was making decisions that were way over my head when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. Looking back on it now, yeah, I would have done things a little differently, probably. But hindsight's 20/20, right? So, anyways, the whole thing about, and then there was a bunch of people that got online and was like, oh my God, look, it's a insurrection. Oklahoma's got an insurrection because all these people are, trespassing in the building and whatever, and it's an occupation. And it's like, okay, guys, you're being a little hyperbolic now. I mean, it's a bunch of protesters and stuff. And I think that's what I think January 6th was too. It was just a bunch of protesters and stuff. So, mixed in with federal agents, by the way, thanks to the House committee doing all their investigations and stuff. Matt Gaetz dropping some bombs on Timcast over the last few weeks. I'm looking forward to all of that stuff coming out. 14,000 hours of video from January 6th. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what we're going to see? How many FBI agents are we going to see provoking protesters to taking it a little too far, right? How many? If we just go off of history and the recent history, what was it in the Governor Whitmer kidnapping case, right? It was like 11 of the 13 were FBI informants. So something stupid like that. I don't know, 10 of the 13 or however many it was. I know it was like a majority of the people involved in that kidnapping were FBI informants. So then you have the whole Ray Epps thing, right? Why has nothing happened to Ray Epps? He was on video multiple times, saying we got to go inside the building and we got to do this, and he's not even been charged. But you have people who just walked in the building being held in jail for 2 years under horrible conditions for trespassing. I don't know. Like I said, this is my first stream, so I don't know how many rules I've broken. I don't even know if I'm still up and live. If I am, and you're watching, welcome. Thanks for checking me out. Now I'm going to get into the Super Bowl. And I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, this is my first live stream, and I'm not as prepared as I wanted to be. I needed to have more slides and videos and stuff ready to be pulled up. And that's my fault, and I apologize. So I will make sure that my next live stream is more prepared. But I think I'm going to be doing this maybe every Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to start on Thursdays, and then we'll see from there. I might add Tuesdays just because I know I'm going to have a quiet house on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that may be a possibility in the future. But definitely on Thursdays, I'm gonna start live streaming. So once a week, you guys gonna be able to catch a live stream here at Hide and Seek Media. So, but like I said, I'm sorry I'm not better prepared. It is what it is. Now I'm gonna talk about the Super Bowl and who I think is gonna win the game, how I think the game is gonna go. So, if you can see in the background there, I am a 49ers fan and was very, very disappointed at how that NFC Championship game went. Now, I'm happy for Jalen Hurts because as an OU fan, getting him to transfer here for that 1 year was amazing. And, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. So, I'm rooting for him more than I'm rooting for the Eagles, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But looking over the season and how each team addressed adversity when it hit them and how each team's schedule looked and everything, the Eagles had a pretty easy trip to the Super Bowl now. And even in the NFC Championship game, you were going up against third string and then fourth string quarterback and then basically Christian McCaffrey, right? Because Purdy couldn't throw the ball and he was hurt early in the first quarter, and so that was it, right? And so the Eagles, I think, had the easiest trip to getting to the Super Bowl this year. Like, they played in the NFC East, which, Dallas should have been better, and if they had a better quarterback and a better head coach, they would have been. But for some reason, ever since Jerry Jones fired Jimmy Johnson, that team has been cursed. I don't know if, when Jimmy went to Miami, he met some voodoo lady and had her put a hex on Jerry Jones or something. But ever since Jerry fired Jimmy, that organization has just never been the same. right? They got one more Super Bowl after that, and that was just Barry Switzer taking over the team that Jimmy built and, plug and play, here we go. So, but after that, he could just never get it over the hump. You had terrible coaches. I mean, Chan Gailey and, Bill Parcells, but he was on his way out, right? And I don't know how much, Parcells really put into the Cowboys. I don't think he gave it as much as he gave the Giants or the Patriots. But like I said, they had Chan Gailey, and then you had Jason Garrett forever, and then now you have Mike McCarthy, who showed you his entire repertoire when he was in Green Bay. And you see it now. The exact same thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, that's still happening to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, is happening to Dallas. But it's the same that's always been happening to Dallas, right? They had Tony Romo and T.O. and could get to the playoffs, but never win a playoff game. Never get out of the first round. And the same with Dak Prescott. Like, I'm almost convinced that Jimmy did go down to Miami and have some voodoo woman put a hex on Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Because, it's pretty bad when it's been that many years since you've been to a second round playoff game or an NFC championship game or a Super Bowl, right? Like, you're supposed to be America's team. You're supposed to be one of these great franchises, and everybody talks about you every year, and your fans, for some reason, this is the year. Them boys, they're going to go to the Super Bowl every year. Like Michael Irvin, every year. They're going to make the Super Bowl. And it's like, come on, man. Really? So I got to have some respect for the fans in that regard because they love their team, right? And they die hard, will ride or die for their team. God, it's annoying. Every year you're going to the Super Bowl. Come on. Your quarterback was Dak Prescott. If any of you guys thought Dallas was going to make the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott, I'm sorry. That's pie in the sky, wishful thinking. So anyways, let's get back to the Eagles because they're in the Super Bowl. I like the Eagles offense, but what I was more impressed with was their defensive line watching against the 49ers. They gave that offensive line of San Francisco hell the whole game. Obviously they were able to get back there to Purdy very early and injure him. And then they injured Josh Johnson. So that to me is going to be Mahomes' biggest test, right? Is that defensive line and how well his ankle is healed up, because he's going to have to scramble. I'm willing to bet, right, that Mahomes has at least 65 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown in the Super Bowl, because I don't think the Eagles have the right personnel to play contain against somebody like Patrick Mahomes, especially in their offense, the way Kansas City's offense runs. Even with wide receivers 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you can catch the ball, Patrick Mahomes is going to put it where you can catch it and you only. That's the one thing I got to give Kansas City and Andy Reid props for, was moving up to get Patrick Mahomes in the draft, because that was one of the smartest moves that organization and Andy Reid has made, in his career. And then to have him sit behind Alex Smith for a year and watch a true professional work, was smart. So I really think that this is going to be a tough fought game. But if I'm looking at it offense to offense, defense to defense, I would have to say that Philadelphia has the better defense. But the offense of Kansas City is dynamic enough where they're going to give that defense trouble. So I just don't know that Philadelphia's offense is going to be dynamic enough to get through Kansas City's defense, right? I'm not impressed with Kansas City's defense. I haven't been all year. But really, if you can shut down the run, right, and you have at least one corner who can lock up A.J. Brown or at least give him a hard time or run double coverage on A.J. Brown and put man coverage on the other guys, and constantly keep the run game shut down, you have a chance at beating Philly. I mean, you saw it. The Niners, even with a fourth string quarterback, when their defense was on it, their defense kept them in the game early up until mid second quarter, right? Their defense was hanging in there. And then, sooner or later the levee has to break, right? With bad quarterback play and not moving the ball on offense. Sooner or later the dam is going to break, and they're going to give up points. And unfortunately, the score didn't reflect how hard fought that game was, right? So I think it's going to be a very, very evenly matched game. I think it's going to go a little bit back and forth towards the third and fourth quarter. And I'm thinking we're going to see a score probably around, mid 20s, I would say mid 20s to low 30s. And so, I'm thinking, 31-28, 33, 30, somewhere around in there. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be settled by a field goal. And I think the Chiefs are going to pull it off. I think the Chiefs are going to manage the clock better and have a better game plan for the Super Bowl. You got to remember, the Chiefs have been to the Super Bowl, 3 out of the last 4 or 5 years now? They've been here. They've done it. They know what media day and all that other crap is like. They know the whole week leading up to the Super Bowl and what you have to do and how you have to navigate it. Some of these Eagles players don't, right? And the most key player has never been here before, Jalen Hurts. And so, big stage. How's he going to... I mean, he played at Alabama, and so he played at Oklahoma. So he's been on big stages. He knows. I don't think that's really going to affect him. But this is the biggest stage. There is no more. There is no bigger stage in your occupation than the Super Bowl if you are an NFL player. And so once you walk out onto that field and it hits you for the first time, reality, holy shit, I'm here in the freaking Super Bowl. Some people, flounder a little bit. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts will. He seems pretty mentally tough, can handle it. So, but I think it's that little hesitation is what's going to give the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes the edge. They're not going to have that, right? They're not going to walk into the stadium going, "Holy shit, this is the Super Bowl." They're going to be like, "It's time to win another freaking Super Bowl." They're going to be, their motivations are going to be a little different than some of the younger players on Philly. And the coach, I don't know much about the coach. I don't know if he's been there before or how many times he's been an assistant coach or whatever on a Super Bowl team or deep into the playoffs. But Andy Reid has been to the Super Bowl a lot. Was it like 3 times with the Eagles? 3 or 4 times with the Eagles, and now 3 or 4 times with Chiefs. So I just think the Chiefs have the upper hand in this game, and I think they're going to win.